In this video, we will look at solving the Android questions from the Magnet Virtual Summit 2022 Capture the Flag contest. And I'm only going to be using free tools on the CAINE Linux platform. So please help me out by hitting the subscribe button and hold my hand. The first thing we're going to do is download ALEAPP, which will help us in analyzing the Android image. ALEAPP stands for the Android Logs, Events, and Protobuf Parser, which is another in the series of LEAPP tools developed by Alexis Bergoni to parse iOS, Android, Chrome, subpoena returns, Linux, etc. So first thing I'm going to do is grab the code from the GitHub. So I'm going to do sudo git clone https://github.com/abrignoni/aleap.git. Once it's downloaded to my system, I'm going to cd into the folder called ALEAPP and then do an ls to take a look at what's here. And before I actually start doing any other downloads, I'm going to upgrade my preferred installer program, pip, by doing python 3-m pip install --upgrade pip. And so when it's done, the next thing I'm going to do is install the Python environment requirements for this particular program. So I'm going to do pip3 install -r requirements.txt. And then lastly, I need to install the tkinter package so that the GUI will run properly. So I'm going to do sudo apt-get install python 3-tk. And then when that's all done, we are ready to launch ALEAPP. So all you got to do is do python 3 aleap GUI.py. And the panel pops up. So the first thing we're going to do is give it some input. And for this one, I'm going to point it to my pixel.tar file, part of the Magnet Virtual Summit Capture the Flag contest. And then for the output, I'm going to put it under the folder called /temp. And then the third step is select whatever modules you want to use to process. Well, since this is a pretty small image, we might as well do them all. So I'm going to select all available modules and then hit process. So it comes back pretty fast. And then it will ask you if you want to look at the results in the HTML page. So you can look at it through Firefox or any other web browser. Next thing I'm going to do is process the same image with the Autopsy tool. And it's already downloaded on CAINE, so I don't need to download it. All right, so we're going to select the logical image as the input. And then we're going to select the ingest modules. I'm going to select the recent activity, file type ID, extension mismatch detector, embedded file extractor, picture analyzer, and email parser. So once again, the more of these ingest modules you pick, the longer it's going to take. So I believe these are all the ones that I will need for this particular Capture the Flag contest. And the last thing I'm going to do is pre-process the Google Takeout, also with Autopsy. And now we're ready to answer the questions. Question 1. If you are looking for an image, it was probably deleted. How many emojis were used in the first Snapchat received by the user? So for this one, because I've had some experience with Snapchat, I know where to look. So I'm going to use the DB browser for SQLite to view the data in the pixel image under data.com.snapchat.android/databases/arroyo.db. And then under the table named conversation message, I'm going to look for the message content field, which has a blob that contains messages. I'm going to sort by time to get the first message, and then select the field that I'm interested in, and then export that file to /temp/blob.out. And then jump back in my terminal. I'm going to do cat/temp/blob.out. And we can count the different emojis, and I got 9. Question 2. Oh, so popular. What Snapchat account sent the user the most messages? So staying within the DB browser, now I'm going to look at a different database under data/com.snapchat.android/databases/main.db. And then if we look at the friends table, we have 3 friends here. We have Angie, Frank 07, Shell Game 715, and Team Snapchat. And if we go back to the arroyo.db database and look back on the table called conversation_message, we see that the messages are all sent with the same sender ID, which starts with 84EE. And if we look at the friends table in the main.db, we can see that the Team Snapchat user is the one that has the ID of 84EE something something. Question 3. BurgLARProof. What live action roleplay armor was the user building? So for this one, I searched for the LARP apps, and I found the following installed apps: AllTrails, Bumble, Discord, Magix, Reddit, Signal, Slopes, Snapchat, Spotify, TikTok, Twitter, WeChat, and Wire. There is no game, at least not that I recognize, that's a LARP. And so then the next thing I did was I looked under the ALEAPP results, and I looked under the Chrome search terms, and I filtered it for the word LARP in the search bar. And then if you look at the narrowed down results, there is a reference to LARP Shield DIY. Looks like this is a article on how to build your own shield. And so that's my guess, is this shield. Question 4. Your chariot awaits. What was the MAC address of the first IoT device connected? And so here I'm going to look under the ALEAPP results, under Bluetooth connections. And then Bluetooth connections, there were 3 devices. We have a Moto 360 that did not have a date, and then the 2 other ones did have a date. So from here, we can actually tell where this information came from. So I'm going to directly look at that file under data misc bluedroid/bt config.conf. And looking through this file, we can see that it's separated out into different sections where each of the connected Bluetooth devices has all of their associated information. And I'm just going to make the assumption that the file was created on the date of the time created field of when the first device was connected. And so that's why there's no associated timestamp data. And then if you look at the subsequently added devices, they all have the timestamp attribute. So once again, my assumption is that the first device connected will not have a timestamp attribute. So I'm going to guess is the first device, which is the Moto 360. And so its MAC address is D05FB833DF00. Question 5. ID, please. What was the ICC ID for the SIM card used with this device? So once again, looking under the ALEAPP results, if we look under the category of device info, and then sim_info_0, we see that only one ICC ID was used for this track phone. And so if you actually look at the poster from SANS 585, they recommend looking at the checkin.xml file for the SIM card information. Question 6. Never ending. Podcasts can seem like they drag on forever. How long was Raphael's longest podcasts? All right, so making the assumption that there were podcasts downloaded to the phone, I did a search for folders with the name podcasts. So in the Linux command line, I did find, and then pointed to the extracted pixel folder, dash type of D for the directory, and then dash iname of star podcast star, dash exec, ls dash capital R for recursive, open curly brace, close curly brace, backslash, semicolon. And so this came back with a bunch of folders and their files. There were 2 files of note, which were M4A files. So I'm going to use the find command to actually just narrow down these 2 files. And then I'm going to use the ffprobe command that comes with CAINE to look at the duration attribute of these 2 sound files. The results from ffprobe looking at the duration of these 2 files, and the longer one has the time of 3 hours, 35 minutes, and 23 seconds. Question 7. Last 4. What were the last 4 digits of the Visa used to purchase the user's most used video game? So the first thing I did was go to the ALEAPP results and then look under Chrome offline pages report, the Chrome web history report, the Chrome web visits, all these different reports, and search for the term Visa. And nothing came back. And then I took a look at the Google Takeout with Autopsy, searching through the emails, and finally I come to this one particular email from mojang.com. And basically, it's a receipt for buying Minecraft Java Edition with a credit card. And that essentially came up with the credit card number ending in 1815. Question 8. Expired milk. What was the earliest expiration date for the user's guest Wi-Fi account? So the first thing I did was look at ALEAPP result, and there was nothing there. It did confirm the SSID of Champlain guest. And then while I was answering another question, I was looking at the emails, and then I noticed that there was a bunch of emails received from champlain.edu. And then what I did was I sorted by the subject in the emails, and then just looked at them one by one, and looked for the earliest expiration date, which happens to be 01-28-2020 at 1701. Question 9. Water everywhere. What is the zip code of the location that the image of the water was taken? So first thing I did was look under ALEAPP's Google Photos cache, and I see a photo of a frozen lake. That's as close to water as I can find. So then I right-clicked on the pictures and copied out the location. Then I went to the command line and used the EXIF tool to look at those photos. And there was no GPS information in either one. And then next thing I looked at is the Image Manager cache report. And then there was a bunch of water pictures. Towards the end, I did the export again, and then also used the EXIF tools on those. And again, there was no EXIF information, no GPS information on any of those pictures. I looked at the autopsy results for the pixel, and then there is a category here for EXIF metadata. And once I look in here, I see 4 pictures with very similar GPS locations. And once again, I plug these coordinates into Google, and then they show me a result of Burlington, Vermont, 05401. Question 10. Keep on moving. What is the next Vegas show? Well, I had no idea what this even meant when I first saw this question, so I just kind of went on to other questions. But then when I was just browsing around the data that ALEAPP parsed out, I saw the Google Keep Notes section. So clicking in there, I see that there is the next Vegas show is February 17th. So now that I solved the question, the clue of keep on moving makes sense. Question 11. Snap your fingers. What is the username of the last friend added to the user's Snapchat? So going back and looking with the DB browser, looking at data/com.snapchat.android/databases/main.db. We have 3 friends. And looking at each of them, Angie Frank is the only one who has a real added timestamp. So I'm just going to guess Angie Frank 07. Question 12, starting over. What day was the device factory reset? So looking at ALEAPP, there is a device details tab. And then there is a wipe and setup section. There is a field that is called a factory reset. And the timestamp is 2022/01/14. Question 13, hash it out. What hashing algorithm was used for Bumble's email confirmation email? So here I'm going to look at the autopsy results. And looking at the email section, I look for the email from Bumble. And then from there, look at the headers for that email. And here I see it lists out the TLS AES 256 and also RSA-SHA-256. So I'm going to guess SHA-256. Question 14, so tasking. What is the status of the Go grocery shopping list? Well, this sounds like a Google list, so let's take a look at the Google takeout that was processed in Autopsy. And looking under Google Shopping, I'm going to expand that out and look at each of the subcategories, but there's really nothing there. Then I see the task folder down here, and then also realize the name of the question is so tasking, and clearly a oh duh moment for me. So using an external viewer to look at the task.json file shows the title of Go grocery shopping, and it's got a status of needs action. Question 15, surviving a snake bite. What is the name of the YouTube channel that hosts the video that was watched at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 1st? So I'm going to take a look at Google Takeout under Autopsy. And then there is a category called YouTube History. And then there's something called watchhistory.html. And so if we scan all the way down to the appropriate date of February 1st and look at the time of 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we see that the channel was called Python MC. Question 16, Bee Sweater. What famous cartoon from the mid-1900s did the user watch a snippet of? So after the last question about YouTube, I looked at the rest of the history and found nothing of interest. Then I looked through the Chrome history and I got nothing there. And then I looked in Autopsy for the pixel image that was processed. And then I looked under file types and then looked at the mine type and then looked at video. And basically there's two categories. There's MP4 files and then QuickTime files. And then thinking that the QuickTime files were easier to preview, I started to look at the 113 QuickTime files. And Autopsy had issues playing any of the videos, so I actually had to go to the directory where the files were. And then I saw the Bumble app folder, and I realized that the title of the question is Bee Sweater. So maybe this is the directory all along, but still not sure what the sweater referenced to. So after dragging each of the 13 videos into VLC, there's only 3 cartoons that were there, and only one of them looked like it was from the 50s, the 70s, and it was a Charlie Brown Snoopy cartoon, but I believe the formal name is Peanuts. Question 17, a recent trick. What is the name of step 5 : step 4 dash? So another WTF moment. I had no idea what this question was. So again, I skipped it and came back to it later. With the title of recent trick, I decided to look at the Chrome web history within ALEAPP. And just looking through, I saw that there was a step-by-step hacking tutorial. So maybe that was it. I went to the website, spent a few hours looking around in there, nothing of interest. Another search was for the best magic trick, and so I went through that link to the website. Another few hours wasted, although I am now a very good magician. And looking at the very last search was for a do-it-yourself LARP shield, which was the answer to another question. This guide contained a weird header like step 2 : step 1. So this looks similar to the question. So I kind of scanned through, and after scrolling down some more, I see step 5 : step 4, ka-chunk. And as Charlie Brown would say, good grief. Ka-chunk is the answer. Question 18. All Trailblazer. How many miles were left until Stowe Pinnacle? Again, this is one of those that I had no idea where to start. I thought about Google Maps and then directions, but there was nothing there. And then as I was looking for answers for another question, I stumbled across photos. And one of these photos, it is a picture that has a sign that says 3.6 miles to Stowe Pinnacle. Question 19. Seeing through the trees. What was the last street that Google told the user to turn on to the way to Sugarbush Mountain? So I looked under ALEAPP's Google Maps voice guidance section, and all of the directions were on the same date of January 20th, 2022, starting at 1328 and then ending at 1438. And if you skip through all the different pages, the last guidance said,
in 300 feet, turn right onto Forest Drive Gatehouse Lane.
And so once again, in hindsight, Forest Drive makes sense since the title is Seeing Through the Trees. All right, so those are my methods for solving the Android portion of the 2022 Magnet Virtual CTF. Again, I have no idea whether these were the right answers, as I didn't get a chance to finish before the CTF was taken offline. Anyways, hope this was useful for you. For more videos on Capture the Flag walkthroughs, watch these videos here. For more videos on the Linux command line, watch these videos here. Make sure you click on the blue monkey to subscribe. Thanks for your time and happy hunting.